Hello? All right. Okay, I think we can start now. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to Ms. Conovo and the administrators for allowing us to be here. For those of you that don't know, we have a professional development day. The teachers are supposed to be in meetings right now, but she was nice enough to give us this time. So, thank you very much, okay? All right, so we're gonna start today's ceremony with the singing of the Star Spangled Banner, and that's gonna be brought to you by the Swing Choir. The participants are Gabby Bailey, Julia Costa, Annie Diaz, Adita Natuya, and Juliana Schrenker. Okay.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you very much for that. All right, so I just have some short thoughts that I wrote down, and then we can start with the presenting the award winners, and we'll hear from some veterans. All right, so in a moment, we will have the two Kemper Memorial Contest winners come up to share their work with the audience. The question this year that the students at the high school and at Homix were asked to focus on was, why is it more important to put your country over that of a political party or ideology? That question today is arguably more relevant today than perhaps at any other time, certainly perhaps in our lifetime. As we gather here to honor those that have paid the supreme sacrifice for our freedoms and our way of life, we must also acknowledge that we are an extremely divided nation. Network news channels routinely blur the line between news and opinion. Politicians refer to their supporters as us and the opposition as them. We refer to our states as red and blue, forgetting that the people that live in them are Americans, not partisans blindly following the marching orders of a political party. On Memorial Day, we honor all Americans that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, or as Lincoln said in his majestic Gettysburg Address, the last full measure of devotion. As far as I know, I have never heard anyone refer to those that have died in battle to preserve our freedoms as a Democrat or a Republican or a member of any other party. When we look at the names inscribed on the Kemper Memorial, there are no party affiliations next to them, nor are there at Arlington National Cemetery or any other memorial that I know of in the United States. When we read the names of those inscribed on the Kemper Memorial, we can try to imagine what they were thinking when they went into battle. But I can almost surely tell you that the last thing they were thinking about was what political party they belonged to. As many here can attest, when you join the military, you don't swear an oath to a party or an ideology. You swear an oath to protect and defend the United States and its Constitution. The Constitution, which has been our guiding document for over 200 years, is what makes us great. It's equal protection for all under the law, the guarantee of due process, the preservation of three separate and equal branches of government, each with separate duties, powers, and responsibilities. Powers that include the declaration of war, the funding and defunding of government agencies through congressional actions, and maintenance of equal balance through judicial review. This is what has made us a nation worth defending, and in the most extreme cases, worth dying for. Those that we honor today, this Memorial Day, deserve our gratitude because they died for the rule of law, not an ideologue or a demagogue. For history has shown that when nations put a party or an ideology or even individual above the rule of law, they are headed toward a path of self-destruction and degradation of basic human decency. Democracy is messy. It can be chaotic. But as Winston Churchill once said, it is better than all other forms of government. Those that have died to protect our constitutional rights can best be honored by remembering them on this holiday and honoring their sacrifices. But they can also be honored by reminding those in power that they work for us, the people, and that our rights were written down over 200 years ago. And they have been amended as we have progressed as a society. We have surpassed the freedom that the Founding Fathers first wrote down 200 years. Let us remember that today on Memorial Day. Thank you very much. Right now, I would like to introduce Dr. Sampson. He's going to come up and say a few words. Thank you very much, Dr. Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Vega. That was powerfully put and so accurate. And thank you, everyone, for coming out today. I know we have some of our town officials as well. I saw Marini in the back, and if I've missed anyone, thank you for coming to celebrate with us. It's awesome to have this event in this auditorium with so many students sitting here and able to sort of reflect on the day. What I would ask, and echoing some of the things that Mr. Vega said, we spend Memorial Day too often worried about barbecues and things like that, and don't reflect on the importance of the day. The importance of the day is that thousands upon thousands of individuals made a choice to serve their country, and they paid the ultimate price, but even those who didn't pay the ultimate price pay a significant price. So for those of you who are family members who've deployed, who are not home at the holidays, and birthdays, and as children grow up, it's a very difficult existence. So for the students out there in particular, as we get further and further away from events like Kemper Memorial beautifully recognizes the sacrifice of World War II, but we are literally 80 years away from that. And the further we get away from that, the more difficult that memory becomes to maintain. And so for our students here, what I would impress upon you is how fortunate you are to have a memorial like that on our grounds that you can walk through, reflect in, and just for a moment out of your day, think about the choices that other folks made to ensure the freedom that we have today. And so I'm really beyond proud to work with the Kemper Memorial folks to make sure that that memorial is treated the way it deserves to be in this community, that the school district is committed to maintaining that to the fullest extent possible, and I am thankful for the veterans. We have Mamaroneck class of 1943, I believe, in the house, so thank you all for coming out and spending a few moments to recognize the importance of Memorial Day. So thank you, Mr. Vega.
Thank you, Dr. Sampson. This year, I think we had probably since I've been running it, the Kemper Memorial Contest. I think we had the most entries ever. And this year, thank you to Andy Scott, who ran it on the Homics, and we had both schools participating in this contest. And I know it sounds cliche, but it really was a hard decision for the judges to make a decision on these entries, because we had so many good entries. We actually had entries that were essays, we had entries that were works of art, we had entries that were music, all the type of genres. So this year, we picked 2 entries. One of them is, you can see right here, and this is what we're going to hear from first. Her name is Juliet Wee. She's a junior, and she's going to come up and just talk a little bit about her artwork. Okay, thank you.
Juliet Way. I'm a junior here at Mamaroneck, and I created a drawing for this year's Kemper Memorial Contest. My piece is meant to highlight the importance of putting our country above political ideologies and discourse to respect the sacrifices of those who came before us. In the foreground, 2 high school students, 1 Republican and 1 Democrat, are each pulling on an American flag, causing it to rip. It's clear in this image that even if just one side pulled too hard, the flag would still rip. This visual is meant to symbolize the deep political divisions in this country that are tearing the nation apart. In the puddle, you can see the reflection of these 2 high schoolers. However, the reflection travels into the past. It portrays the likely fate of 2 recently graduated high schoolers during World War II, drafted into the military and working hard to fight for the survival of our nation. The struggle depicted in the reflection in trying to raise the American flag symbolizes the sacrifice and hard work that went into protecting and preserving the nation. For the reflection, I drew inspiration from the photograph from the Battle of Iwo Jima, which captures the soldiers' strength, sacrifice, and teamwork during World War II. The reflection underscores a spirit of unity that guided Americans during the war, when political differences were set aside with a larger enemy to fight against in order to ensure the survival of this nation. This important idea is commonly forgotten today, that there are larger issues such as climate change that we need to ignore our differences in order to fight against. The 2 soldiers depicted in the reflection are only able to raise the flag, which represents our nation, together, underscoring the importance of unity and upholding the nation. I was inspired by my great-uncle, Captain Frederick G. Staudenmeier, who served as a naval aviator during the Vietnam War. He often shared stories of the hardship his fellow soldiers faced, some tortured, others killed, and many longed for home. This piece is meant to honor those sacrifices and urge viewers to respect that legacy by putting unity above political division. Through this artwork, I wanted to direct the viewer to look back into the past and recognize the sacrifices and struggles that went into preserving and protecting this nation. I wanted to emphasize the privilege we have as high school students today to be able to learn and look forward to college due to the sacrifices of high schoolers before us. With this privilege, we should respect the efforts of those who came before us by continuing to help this nation thrive by going past our political differences to target larger issues. By allowing political divisions to tear deeper through our country, we risk undermining the unity and freedoms that so many fought to protect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juliet, and my apologies. You did tell me the correct pronunciation of your name, and I messed it up. I apologize. As anyone here could tell you, I'm not that bright. Okay. All right, right now, before we continue, I would like to announce a very special guest that we have here. His name is Mr. Joe Germano. He's a World War II veteran, local resident, and this year he will turn 100 years young, as I've been told. We all just take a moment to stand and acknowledge Mr. Germano for his duty and thank him. Thank you for your service. Just so you know, in my classroom, I think I have it at home now, but in my classroom, I've used a World War II, a yearbook from World War II, class of 1943. And I've used it. It was actually found by someone in Rhode Island, and was brought down to the Historical Society in Larchmont, and it made its way to my classroom. And the kids love looking at it. Kids realize that you can go back 80, 100, 150 years, and kids are kids, and digging, reading by what's inscribed in that yearbook. So, again, thank you for your service, sir. Okay. All right. So before we hear from our next speaker, I would like to thank a few people, as I always do. I'd like to thank Ms. Conovo again, Mr. Washington, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Alonji, and Ms. Natali for providing us the opportunity to be here today. The custodial staff always making sure that every room, that no matter where we have it, is always spotless. The IT department for setting up the audio equipment, the Board of Education, and Dr. Charles Sampson for allowing us to have the ceremony. and obviously, and the Kemper Memorial Board for putting out the word to our veterans. I would also like to especially thank Jen Northrup and Bruce Northrup for taking all my phone calls and emails regarding today's ceremony. Andy Scott, like I said again, for doing it, handling the contest at Homix. All right. Mr. Nobles, as long as we're at him, for putting this up here on the screen. And Mr. Klein also, who put it up on the easel also. So thank you all. Right now, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Mr. Andrew Natali. Mr. Natali served in the Air Force and is the brother of our AP, Ms. Natali. Just to tell you a little bit before he speaks, he graduated the Air Force Academy class of 1992. He served as a missile combat crew commander with over 100 alert tours manned. He was an instructor, navigator, and chief of reconnaissance operations with over 1,000 hours flying and 75 active intelligence missions flown. Mr. Natali, can you please come up? Thank you very much.
Take this.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Does this still work? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I had kind of a prepared remarks for today, but after everything that I've heard from Mr. Vega to, I forget your name already, but I'm never going to forget this, to all the other comments that have been made, I feel like, I'm standing here like it's kind of a tough act to follow. Yeah, Mr. Vega did say that. So I was 92 graduate from the Air Force Academy, and I'll go in a little bit more about what I did. As a missile combat crew member, I don't know, for some of the older people in the crowd, remember the movie War Games, and the opening scene where they're sitting in the silos and they're getting ready to turn their keys to launch the missiles. That's what I did for 100 tours. So I spent 100 days of my life 50 feet underground. And then I went to flight school, navigator training for a year. And then after that, I was a navigator on a reconnaissance plane for 6 years. And I always tell people, if you saw, anytime that CNN was broadcasting overseas between 1996 and 2001, there was a good chance that I was there either finding out what they found out or we found out something and then they would broadcast afterwards. So a lot of cool stuff, a lot of stuff I still can't talk about. But it really was a great mission. And like we said earlier, the one thing that was never on our mind when we were out there flying and we were doing anything was what political affiliation the guy sitting next to me was. The only thing that mattered at that point, can he or she do the job? And can I help them out and they can help me out so that we can get our mission done so that we can get home? And I've seen a lot since then, and yes, I couldn't agree with you that I think now as a country there's a lot more division, that there's a lot more, I don't know how to say it, but there's a lot more, the spotlight is more on politics now. And it seems like you're either on one side or the other, you can't be in the middle. And I think that that's really a shame because when you stop to think about it, there's so much more that we have in common than we have in our differences. And I remind myself of that every time. I have friends of mine that are brothers and sisters that I graduated with, I flew with, that are on opposite sides of the aisle. We get into heated debates, but there's one thing that will never change is that I always remember the times that I served with them. They remember the times that I served, that they served with me. And that's never going to go away. It was interesting, I was thinking about it while listening to the speech. There's a song that Billy Joel wrote called Summer Highland Falls, and the first line of that movie is, they say that these are not the best of times, but they're the only times I've ever known. And that might be true now, is that it might seem like these are not the best of times, but these are the times that we are living through. And I can tell just from being here and just experiencing it and seeing artwork like this and listening to what you're saying, it does give me hope. Because events like this that shine the light on the fact that we do have division, but we need to get back together as a country and as Americans, that gives me hope for the future. And in case you hear me a little choked up in my voice, it is. Because I took an oath to go ahead and defend this nation, for better, for worse, no matter what happens. And if the call came up today, I still would do it. I don't know how I would do it. I'm a little more out of shape than what I was when I was in, but I would definitely go ahead and do it. Like I said, I really just want to thank everybody for coming out here, and I wanted to just encourage you to continue to find that common ground, to find what makes us great as a country. And that's going to be what your gift is going to be to the history of this country going forward. So I get a little upset when I hear people talk about this generation. Oh, they're lazy. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. Oh, they're on their TikTok and all this other stuff. And I have to remind my generation that they say the same thing about us when we were that age. Because video games were coming out, and that was the first thing, go outside and play. You shouldn't be playing that video game. Well, I would argue, and I think everybody else in my generation or my age group would say, I think we turned out pretty well. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to turn out very well. In fact, I think you're going to probably turn out better because you have access to more now than what we did when we were growing up. But again, keeping with the theme for the day, yes, it's easy to go ahead and say what's wrong with people or what's wrong with the country. It takes a lot more energy to find out what's right and what's good and what we have in common. But when you give that energy to it, the rewards are going to be better. So I would encourage you to continue to do that, to continue to find what binds us as a country, what makes us great, and leverage that going forward. And the last thing to say is Memorial Day. Yes, I would encourage everybody to just take a little bit of a time and just remember what the day is about. But speaking from experience and from someone who's lost friends in combat and throughout the years, I can tell you full well that they would like everyone here to be having that hot dog, to be enjoying the day, get into a water balloon fight if we can do it, whatever, enjoy it, smile, laugh, because they would love to be here doing the same thing. Thank you very much.
This is now his third or fourth time that he's come to, this fourth time that he's come to speak with us. I want to thank you because whenever I call you or email you, you're always available. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So right now, we'd like to hear from our second winner. All right. Her name is Kaylee Hernandez. She wrote an essay, and she's going to come up here and tell you about her essay. So come on up, Kaylee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kaylee Hernandez, and I wrote an essay. What is Memorial Day? A common misconception of this holiday is that it is a day to celebrate with barbecues and festivities, but that just isn't how this day was meant to be commemorated. Veterans Day, the celebratory holiday, is a day to thank and honor all veterans, whether living or dead, for their service in the U.S. military. Memorial Day is the day dedicated to mourn and remember those who have passed serving in the military and their country. Taking this day for what it is, it truly isn't honored as much as it should be. And a great contributing factor to this reason is people's opinions. It sounds outlandish to think ideas alone could take away from mourning the death of heroes, but it is the harsh truth. People are blinded by their own perspectives, so much so that they forget that we are still one country, a country who must fight to protect one another when push comes to shove. It has reached such a point of political and ideological segregation that I personally fail to imagine people fighting on the same side to fight a common foe. It is for this reason that it is crucial to put our country over any political party or ideology. So many people gave up their lives for the United States that to put an ideology of any kind before our country would be a disrespect for those who fought so hard to protect it. Not to mention that we, as human beings, should be able to celebrate, fight, and mourn for our country together. Ideology can be defined as a system of ideas and ideals, specifically ones which form the basis of economic or political theory and policy. Some examples of this can be liberalism, socialism, conservatism, fascism, communism, and other ideas that demonstrate how society should be organized. These beliefs led to large movements, revolutions, and other things that unite many people to accomplish many remarkable goals. With that said, however, the influence of ideology isn't always positive. The negatives cannot go unaccounted for. Having opposing or different ideologies could lead to disagreements that later lead to violence, which, when looking back on the history of any country, is one of the worst case scenarios. An example of this is the Vietnam War, an ideology that contributed to this devastating war, anti-communism with the belief of spreading democracy. The US saw communism, which can be defined as a political or economic system where society, rather than individuals collectively, own and control the means of production like farms, factories, and resources, as a threat. They believed that if one country in Southeast Asia became communist, then a domino effect would occur, leading to many other countries to follow in suit. The US believed it was its moral and political duty to stop the spread of communism, even in a place as far as Vietnam. This disagreement between Vietnam and the USA could cause a terrifying amount of death, with Vietnamese mortality rate being over 3 million, included with civilians. As for the death of American soldiers, there was over 58,000. Those numbers don't even include the people who were physically injured or psychologically traumatized. This war also caused American society to become divided. Many questioned the war, others protesting on the streets, and even leading to an incident such as the Kent State shooting. In short, the Ohio National Guard shot and killed 4 unarmed college students and injured 9 others on the campus of Kent State University. To think that this is one of the many examples of how idealism can make us harm others and each other, it truly makes one stop and think. To shift the focus onto what truly matters, our country and the people within who work to keep it thriving. We must recognize the strength that has carried us through history. For the past 233 years, through the lightest and darkest of times, the United States has thrived because of the hard work and unity of its people. This country has survived through events like Civil War, World War I and II, the Vietnam War, the Cold War, and the War of Afghanistan, along with so many other battles that we have endured but bounced back from. These battles, along with many others, serve as a reminder of the price of losing soldiers, property, civilians through conflict, especially in regards to politics and ideology. In the end of every single battle, Americans have come together after this deep and intense struggle to move onward as a nation, and we shouldn't ever stop doing that. It is not a matter of being in constant agreement with one another, because everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but we should always remember that we are one country without letting our perspectives divide us. Politics currently divide people. We criticize one another for supporting a political party, Democratic or Republican. It is one of the debates that keeps America divided at its core. Even with that, we shouldn't let these politics divide us. Whether in war or in mourning, it is critical times like these where ideas such as those should not hold more meaning than our country. In summary, politics and ideologies have taken too much priority over what is most important. The Vietnam War served as one of the examples of ideology affecting not only foreign countries, but harm brought onto ourselves by this war. Politics were also briefly mentioned, but even with all these aspects that keep us apart, it also unites us. The whole purpose of this piece is to make light of how we should put our country first, before politics and ideology. To be honest, to say my words hold the pure truth to be a lie. As someone who isn't well educated on politics or ideology, one must take these words with a grain of salt. My only motive for writing this piece was to show you that we let our own perspectives blind our rational thinking. Politics, as stated previously, have two sides that are driven by their own opinions, and some argue with one-sided data, spoken from visual perspective, of course. Being close with family and people from both parties, I can see how defensive people will get, quickly defending their side, or even calling the other side liars. Now just imagine that at a more catastrophic scale. Seeing these grave differences could turn us against one another, but remember, that isn't what is most important, not by a long shot. What matters is how America comes together in struggle, celebration, and mourning during this Memorial Day, Democrats and Republicans aside. We are the United States of America. There is only one of us. Let us not tear ourselves apart.
Thank you, Kaylee. And like I said before, we had a lot of entries this year, so we had a lot to choose from. So you should be proud, or even more proud, of the large number of entries we had this year. So congratulations to you both. Wrapping up here, guys. just before, those of you that don't know, the Kemper Memorial Board, which has done a lot to preserve the area, and all of this is possible because of them, they have decided to wrap up this year and leave the, well, they can tell you better than I can. But before we do that, I'd like to invite two more people to say some quick words about the Kemper Memorial, the future of it. First, I'd like to ask Dr. Moore if he can come up, and then finally we'll finish up with Mr. Northrop. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vega, for that introduction and for all of this. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I join you today in gratitude for service and sacrifice, and in honoring those who served and sacrificed. And while I may do that privately from time to time, and in conversations with veterans and family members who've served, especially this time of year with Memorial Day coming, I rarely have the opportunity to stand before a group and do it publicly. Or rather, I should say, I rarely take the opportunity to stand before a group and do it publicly. So I'm taking that opportunity now, and it's an honor. It's an honor to look to everyone who's with us here in person and think about those who are with us in spirit and in memory, and thank them for their service and their sacrifice. So thank you. I do want to speak, as Mr. Vega said, for a few moments about the Kemper Memorial Park that's right outside the front of the building, right there on Boston Post Road. When I became the assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction here about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, I took an immediate interest in the park. Found myself walking through it one day after work before a board meeting in last spring, and just wondering what this place was, and came to learn an awful lot about it. But one of the most important things I see there is a space in which our students and our community live. And not just in thought, not just quietly. It's a space that students, you spend time in on your lunch and free periods. It's a space that, when you're walking from the stadium to McDonald's, it's right there at the end of your right hand. It's right at your fingertips, walking right by it. It's always part of our lives here at the school. So as I became more and more engaged in our efforts here in the district to look at our mission and think about our priorities, that work being led by Dr. Sampson, our superintendent, through strategic planning, I found myself sort of turning toward the same things I always turn toward in those kinds of projects. And it's the tradition, it's the history of a place. And in those things you find sort of the truth of a place. And the park is there, has always been there, to teach us. This school has really deep roots, and that's not common. I mean, just look around at this place and how old and traditional and powerful it is. It's not common for a place like this, for a school like this, to have such deep roots. But a lot of those roots, we have to recognize here in Mamaroneck, feed from that park out front. They wind from wherever they're coming from, and they feed from that memorial park. It's not the only place like that around here, but it's a critically important one. Now, one of the reasons the park is so important is because of what it represents as an example of collaboration between the school and its community. It's a prime example of what can happen when a school and a community cooperate on something. That's not its entire history. That's not how it always was, but that's how it is now, and that's how it will be certainly moving forward. The opportunity that collaboration brings us is for you, all of our students, not only live in the light of this park, but to give your light and your life to the park through your visiting, through your wanderings, through your quiet moments of thought in the park. And it gives the opportunity for you to not just live in the park, but also to care for it and to take it on as a burden, even if it's just a small burden, and even if you're just gonna pass it on to the next group of students who come after you, it is your burden and your responsibility, as it is all of ours, to hold that park in a special place and to care for it. You know, the possibilities for us in schools to teach about service and to teach about sacrifice are endless when we have a space like that right out in front of our building. And the lessons and the examples of those that the park memorializes outside will only be impactful in that work if we see those folks, if we hear their stories and we remember them and we talk about them and we share them. And those heroes in that park have an awful lot of really powerful and impactful stories. So memorials like our park are dedicated to those who died for our liberty, for your liberty, through the greatest sacrifice that they could offer through their commitment to what we all owe together as collective responsibility. Think about that. The boundary between what you have as an individual and your freedoms and what we all owe to each other. That park symbolizes both of those things, even if there's tension between those things. So we can't teach any of this without the help of our community, but sadly, a community can't know any of these things without memorials. And memorials are sad things as much as they're empowering. So we need our community, and again, sadly, a community needs its memorials. So I've never known a school to have such a space like that park that we have out front. And I thank Mr. Cantor for all of his efforts over the years. I thank our Preservation Fund board members who are here for all that they've done, and just thank you all for all that you have all done to carry this space and its heroes to us today. It's an honor to have such a space on our campus, to work at a place that has such an important mission and has such an important space. And I promise to do that all that I can with all of you to earn that honor. Thank you.
Finally, we'll have Mr. Bruce Northrop come in before the playing of taps. So he'll just come in and talk a little bit about the Kemper board, and thank you.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Bruce Northrop. I am the treasurer of the Kemper Memorial Park Preservation Fund. On behalf of the board of directors of the fund, I would first like to congratulate Ms. Wu and Mr. Hernandez for their prize-winning entries and to thank all students who participated in the contest. Second, I would like to thank Mr. Vega and Mr. Scott for successfully organizing and leading what has become an annual event. The Kemper Memorial Park Preservation Fund was established in 2004 as a not-for-profit corporation under the leadership of concerned citizens, at a time when even the park's continuing existence was in question. Its stated goals are to preserve, protect, restore the Richard M. Kemper Park in its present location and configuration, and to educate the community about the history and significance of the park as a memorial to the veterans of World War II. In reviewing our progress toward each of these goals over the past 20+ years, our board of directors has concluded that we have substantially achieved our objectives and that it is time to further transition our activities to the Mamaroneck School District, which has become an enthusiastic supporter of the park and its purpose. In closing, let me mention a few of our accomplishments made possible by the contributions of community members, veterans organizations, local businesses, students, school district personnel, and local political and civic leaders. First, in the areas of preservation and restoration, you will now see new park benches as you walk through the park, picnic-style tables, paved walkways, dedication plaques, flower gardens, a rock garden, and tree plantings, street signage and an archway at the Boston Post Road entrance, monument lighting, a sprinkler system, a flagpole, ionized aluminum name overlay on the monument, and QR code stickers linked to our website. Our latest contribution is an appropriately sized American flag for the flagpole next to the monument. In the area of community education, historical research was conducted on each of our honorees. Student internships were initiated with focus on World War II veteran interviews. These interviews are now housed at the Library of Congress in the Veterans Project. And this annual award contest, World War II poster display in the main high school entryway. Please visit our website, www.kempermemorialpark.org. This website presents full history of the park, research on the honorees, home maps, contemporary newspaper accounts of the honorees and World War II events. If you want to see what this park looked like before our organization was formed, please go to the website. You'll be appalled and then amazed at what you see now. We are proud of our role in facilitating over $150,000 of capital improvements to the park, plus untold number of hours of volunteer effort. And we sincerely thank you for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Northup. Before we conclude today, I'd like to thank everyone who volunteered to speak today. I'd like to thank the students for coming, the Kemper board for helping out as always, Mr. Natali, everyone who came up to speak. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We can conclude today's ceremony with the playing of Taps by Sahid Gupta. Thank you, everyone. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, Benjamin.